I'm in a tube top and my armpits aren't shaved, and I don't wear underwear, and you could probably see my butt crack if the sunlight hits my pants. Barev. That was Day 5 is almost over of me visiting my Armenian Ayel's mother. And I wanted to share with you some things I've learned. Number 1, it is not safe to be a woman. It is not safe to have hairy armpits, a hairy coochie, a happy trail, a unibrow, a mustache, some chin hairs. I'm a PCOS girly, so I know all about that extra hair, okay? I'm not new to it. What's sort of new to me, though, is finding absolute liberation in my hair. There was a time when I shaved because it felt conditioned into me. I didn't think twice about it. And then there was a time where I was single in my adulthood, after being in relationships for over 10 years straight, back-to-back long-term relationships. Yeah, things are just different when you stop giving up. I don't think much about it. Full transparency, I have quite excessive body hair because of PCOS, excessive androgen production, as well as excessive cortisol and adrenal fatigue for over a decade. That promotes excessive body hair, especially as a woman. And so I am not someone who is unfamiliar with hair. I am not someone who's unfamiliar with not meeting westernized beauty standards. I have roots in Lebanon. I have roots in Armenia. I don't look like your average American beauty, but I am beautiful, and I am hairy, and I don't wear deodorant because it has toxic chemicals in it, and I don't wear underwear because it has plastic in it, and I care about my womb and my future generation of children so much that I'm liberating myself now from everything. As much as I can, I am devoted to being a free woman, and to be in the house of a woman who is ashamed to be a woman allows me to realize how deep those roots go. There are slivers of moments where she admits that she is scared. Because growing up, she grew up in the Middle East with 4 brothers, an abusive father, and a mother who covered up and stayed at home and cooked and smoked cigarettes on the patio with her friends. And in the Middle East, in Lebanon, in Armenia, you are to cover up. It's called modesty. And I don't disagree with that culture. I think that's beautiful. There is beauty in modesty. There's beauty in any way of expression. If that's what makes you feel beautiful, if that's what feels true to you, absolutely rock with that. I have been in seasons of life where modesty is my entire identity because it feels good to have myself covered so I can show up in the world with my mind first instead of my body, with my heart first instead of my tatas. And then there are other seasons where I'm in a tube top and my armpits aren't shaved and I don't wear underwear, and you could probably see my butt crack if the sunlight hits my pants, in the right way or wrong way, depending on if it's right or wrong to you. And it's so beautiful to see how much of a I'd no longer give when it comes to body shaming, when it comes to being body shamed. There have been, on several occasions, every single day since I've been here, where my mother has called me disgusting, where my mother has called me gross, where my mother has called me a shame, where my mother has admitted that she will not go in public with me, where she has admitted that she will not go to the beach with me if I wear a swimsuit and I don't shave my wuha. I'm not going to. So I'll go alone, or I can go and she can be uncomfortable, and I won't give up. It is so exhausting to keep up with conditioning. I don't want anything to do with it. I have other things to worry about than modesty and cultural beliefs and conditioning and feeling ashamed for being alive. The human expresses itself in the same ways that nature does. The ground grows grass the same way my arms grow hair. Sometimes the air smells bad after rain. Sometimes I smell bad after I sweat. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I smell fresh, just like the air smells fresh after rain. The air doesn't cover itself up with perfume. You just accept it. What are you going to do? Change planets? It's really beautiful to witness in real time my reactions to a conditioned woman being my mother. She is so afraid of being a woman. She did not have the liberation and the tools that I get to be gifted with as a young woman. She was taught that showing your skin meant harm. I have also been shown that, but I did not let it change me. Not to compare, but I gave myself the freedom because I live in a place, in a culture where I get to have more freedom. In the Middle East, it's not much of a choice. And so I have deep reverence for my mom, and I have ultimate compassion for the shame she feels within her own self, for wrapping her entire identity in clothes and calling that freedom. It's not freedom to me, it's safety to her. And as I spoke to before, there have been little slivers where she has admitted that. And in those moments, it makes me feel so much more connected to her because we're having a real conversation as two humans, as two women who know what it means to be conditioned and suppressed and ashamed for being a woman. Will she ever have the courage to let her conditioning dissolve? It's not up for me to know. Will I save her? No. But the most important thing that I can do is remind her when she shames me, and remind her when she calls me disgusting. Not by words, but how I react and how I continue to show up for myself will serve as a reminder to her to know what a liberated, free, peaceful, happy, wild woman is. And as terrifying as it might be for her, I know deep in the marrow of her bones, it is the most beautiful thing she has ever witnessed, no matter how terrifying it is. There's something burning inside her on a cellular level, rippling through her molecules that she can't see, she can barely even intellectualize and logically understand, but she can feel it. There is a fire being lit inside of her by observing her daughter be everything that she never had the freedom to be. And this circumstance of my life, relationally, from my mother, allows me to see the broader lens of universal themes around shaming women. It's all based in religion and cultural difference. And although those things are so outdated to so many of us, it is not our job to tell them that they are wrong. It is not our job to point a finger in their face until they are buried in the dirt from us pointing so hard to tell them that they are wrong. It is our job to do our best to observe and listen that this is how they were born and they don't know any other way. And if they find another way that feels better to people who deem freedom and hairiness and whatever liberation means to you in this new day and age as liberation, it's not our job to define liberation for another human being who is firm in their ways. Just as it is not my job to define that for my mother. She will find that in her own ways. Perhaps she's already found it. The only thing I can do, my only job, is to keep showing up honestly as myself, no matter how uncomfortable it makes her. Because at the end, whether that be the end of her life or whether that be the end of her cycle, if there is a cycle that she's stuck in when it comes to being a liberated woman, she will observe through me what being honest looks like. And so the greatest service and gift we can ever do to anybody, that we can ever offer anybody, is not our beliefs, but it is being so radically honest with ourselves that if they feel so resonant with our honesty, they will be inspired to change. And if they are not resonant with our honest self, then they will remain the same. And the hardest pill for people to swallow is that that is okay. Because being alive and changing the world isn't about changing everybody else. It's a quote as old as time. I believe Rumi said something about, I wanted to change the world, but then I realized I only needed to change myself. The world is not meant for clones, for the exact replica of my belief system has to be your belief system. The world is meant for compassion. There is beauty to be found in every belief system, no matter how messy or harmful it is. It is not up to us to rewrite them for other people. It is up to us to rewrite our own. And whoever feels inspired by that will follow the threads and then make it their own. But the greatest gift we can offer to humanity and to ourselves is just radical honesty. And whoever shames us along the way, remember this. We judge everything until there is nothing left to judge. Meaning everything we do not understand, we will always judge. It's built inside of us. It's not wrong. It can be harmful. What we don't understand, we judge because it scares us. Which is why another great gift we can offer ourselves is the gift of compassion. Because when you release the need to control everything, when you release the need to understand everything, you become free. You become kind. You become soft. You become compassionate, open-hearted, open-minded. We should be grateful that we don't understand everything, because if we did, a lot of us would understand why people are in deep pain. And some of the deepest pain comes from the deepest suffering. And so we should be grateful that we don't understand everything. My mother's judgment towards me comes from deep pain. And while I could never understand why she judges me from her place of pain, I am grateful that I don't, because I did not have to live the life that she lived in order for that pain to be planted in her in the first place. I'm lucky to be a wild woman who doesn't give a. And so the message is today. if you were like me, and you grew up in a home where it was unsafe to be a woman, where you had to be polite, and you couldn't wear this, and you had to be clean and smell good. If you weren't, your mother was your biggest bully. She was not your ally. You did not get called beautiful. You did not have a hype woman. You had an enemy who tried to drag you down in her own pain. My message for you is this: it is not personal. Nothing in life ever is. As much as the victim part of us wants us to believe it is not personal. Your mother has her own pain. And the greatest gift you can offer her and yourself is liberating yourself with your own honesty. And should she ever meet you there and find the beauty in your honesty, that is a gift of its own. And should she never meet you there, it hurts, but it's not personal. And I promise you will find people and a life that understands you and sees you and accepts you fully, and who roots for you, and who finds beauty in your wildness. I'm sorry if you didn't have that childhood or adulthood from someone that was supposed to love you. But it's up to you now to create that and to find that and to become that. And so let the pain you experienced be the greatest teacher. Richard Rudd once said, "The truest way to awaken is to be yourself." Meaning awakening does not always come by meditating in a mountain for 40 years. But true awakening comes from being yourself. Meaning a murderer could be awakened if murder was honest to them. Just as a woman with hairy legs, hairy armpits, a unibrow, and 18 chin hairs can be awakened if it's honest to her. That's all. Mad love.